Welcome back, boys and girls, to another edition of Mr. Mortgage's Neighborhood. Our first guest tonight is a special guest, someone here who lives in the neighborhood, superstar originator Andy Thom. Andy, welcome to the neighborhood.
Thank you. I like what you've done with the place.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? I made it myself. So tell the boys and girls a little bit about how you came about working for Envoy Mortgage and your beginnings in the mortgage world.
Yeah, so my mortgage journey begins in 2016. I get licensed through a company who I won't drop names of companies. But
Rhymes with Schmeedum.
I get licensed through them. I go through their whole class, pass the test, all those things, and end up not liking it. After 6 months of being there, really just didn't like my mentors or any of my management team there. After 6 months of being there, I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go drive Uber. I'm making more money doing that. And that's what I did for the next 4 years or so, and then the pandemic hit. I am diabetic, so I didn't want to be driving people around during that time. And I got a call center job, and it was fine. It paid the bills, but it's not what I want. I've always wanted to be the person that makes my own check. I've always been in sales up until the mortgage. When I got into mortgages, I had 10 years of sales before that. Cell phones, cars. So sales has always been in my blood. I like making my own paychecks, and I don't like taking no for an answer. So from the call center position, I actually called a friend of mine, Jim, and he was opening a mortgage branch, and it sounded like a great fit. It made sense. I wanted to get some advice from him, and here we are today in the neighborhood.
Yeah, pretty awesome. Pretty awesome journey. So on a day-to-day basis, what is your favorite part of the job?
It's a great question. So my favorite part of the job, honestly, is having a management team above me that doesn't hound me. I'm not one of those people that like to be micromanaged, and that is not something that happens where we are. So that's my favorite part of it. The second favorite part of it is helping people get into their first time home buying situations. The look on people's faces at closings, from everyone, from the selling agent to the buying agent to the buyer, borrower, to the title company, everything goes smoothly almost every single time. And the look on people's faces when you're taking those pictures together for little family times and just memories that they get to create because they worked with you, and it's just a great feeling.
Awesome. Now, if you were a realtor watching this video and you didn't know anything about Envoy Mortgage, what would you tell them as to why they should work with you or work with Envoy Mortgage?
Well, one, you should always work with me.
Right.
Never. I mean, no one else is even an option. No, we have a great team here. Technically, even though I started in the business in 2016, I'm kind of still newish, right? Last year, I did, I think it's 59 loans, and of those 59, I want to say it's 27 to 29 of those were first-time home buyers. But the big difference between me and anyone else is I'm single. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I don't have those types of responsibilities. So my phone rings, I answer it 24 hours a day. 3 in the morning, you have a client who maybe is a nurse or a doctor, and they
3 in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have a client who's a nurse or a doctor, and they have special needs. I'm there for those needs because I don't have all those other things going on in my life. Would I like those things? Sure, maybe down the line. Maybe when I turn 25, 30-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood. But I'm always there for your client, and I know that the rest of my team here is as well. And though I have a little bit more responsibility on my plate these days, it hasn't changed anything. I will always be communicative with you. I will always answer on the first ring, which is the most important thing to me.
And you've been really good at developing realtor relationships. You were here in Jersey, here at this office. You were given the opportunity to go over to Philadelphia. Can you give an idea of what's different in this market as compared to the new market you're at over in Philly?
Philly's tough. Where I am over in Fishtown, it's definitely not as loose a group of people. They're a very tight-knit community, and they like to work with their people. It has been a little bit of a challenge, if you will, to infiltrate that neighborhood in loose terms, but I like that challenge. After being there for almost a year, we've done a little bit of business. We're hiring one of our first loan originators under me to join my team. I'm very excited about that, and it's a long play, but it's going to be a great play in the end.
Yeah, I had an experience. I first went over to Fishtown to open up before we came here when I was at another place, and I met with a realtor, and we had a really awesome conversation. We had lunch, and he's like, yo, I want to go out next Thursday night. We'll go and hang out. And I was like, okay, cool. What time do you want me to pick you up? And he was like, 11. And I was like, 11? On a Wednesday? You want to pick up at 11 p.m.? He's like, yeah, there's a midnight rooftop champagne toast, and then we're going here. And I was like, what time do you get home in the morning? He's like, we'll roll in about 3. I'm like, dude, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm old. I am definitely not awake at 3 o'clock and ever at 3 o'clock in the morning. At midnight, I am not doing a champagne. I was like, let's go to like a Flyers game. And he's like, what? So it was a totally different group of people. And it's absolutely a younger, more, modern type thing. An old guy like me ain't hanging out over there too much.
Yeah, so maybe that's also another difference between maybe me going over to Fishtown and, Attico Rooftop Bar, Bach Bar, all those places. I'm willing to go to those places at 11 o'clock at night. So, but you can also get drunk at a Flyers game.
Yeah.
And they stink.
You're an equal opportunity drinker, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Cool. Okay, so personal question. What do you do outside of mortgages that kind of fuels your soul, or what are your passions that you have outside of that?
So when I want to get away from everything and clear my mind and reset things, I go to Disney World. It is something that has been a part of my life, my whole life. My grandmother was obsessed with Mickey Mouse. Not so much Disney World, but Mickey Mouse everything. Mickey Mouse pots, Mickey Mouse crock pots, everything in her kitchen, Mickey Mouse, and butter knives with Mickey Mouse logos. It was just embedded in me from a very early age.
Nice.
Growing up watching beta movies of like Aladdin and things like that. That was my childhood, so that's what I was kind of stuck with. After I got hit by a car when I was like 8 years oldish, 7, 8, and my dad declared the area unsafe. We moved to Ocala, Florida. And Ocala, Florida is not something you'd know on the map. It's about an hour and a half north of Orlando, but at the time when we moved there, it was the #1 place to move your family in this country, and I'm so happy that my parents did that for us. By doing that, it made me very close to Disney World, so I started going there a ton, and I never got sick of it. I have phenomenal, really close friends in my circle, and we all like going there. We all go together. I go twice a year, but even though I'm down there, I'm still working. So first ring, even if I'm in line for test track or maybe Tower of Terror, which I've never done, I do plan on doing this year.
Nice.
But I've never stopped working for you. None of that gets in the way of that. But it is a nice reset to go on vacation and come back clear-headed and just ready to crush it.
All right. Last question. Alive or dead, you get to pick one musical artist to come to you and play 2 songs. Who's the artist and what are the 2 songs?
Oof. I would pick John Lennon. The songs, it could be any songs he wants to choose, honestly. And the guy
Beatles
was
songs
so
or John
good.
Lennon's solo songs?
Beatles songs for sure.
Okay.
My dad was a huge Beatles fan. I grew up listening to that. We took so many road trips, and it was just Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts, the entire album all the way through. I mean, you can listen to every single song on that and not skip a track. But my father was also an artist, and he drew this phenomenal portrait of John Lennon with a black and white grayscale kind of thing. And we still have it to this day at our house. And that picture makes me think of him, and that's who I would want to have dinner with or have them play me some songs.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming by, Andy.
Hey, thanks for having me in the neighborhood.
Stop in again when you're around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the neighborhood, boys and girls. Our next guest is a special treat. Envoy employee, David Kramer. David, welcome to the neighborhood.
Thank you for having me.
So David is one of our loan officers in training here, getting ready to be the man on the mission.
Thank you.
Tell everybody how you found Envoy and what you like most about the Envoy way of doing things.
How I found Envoy and what was the Envoy way of doing things? Well, Envoy and I kind of found each other, to be honest with you. I was about to take another job, and
We stole you away.
it wasn't that much of a steal. I was happy to come. I was about to take another job. Jim had called me right before. You remember that?
Uh-huh.
And
Yes, I remember.
Jim had called me right before that, and I immediately fell in love. I didn't need much pushing. No one had to steal me. As far as the Envoy way of doing things, that's one of the things I love so much about this company and what I do here. Every day is different, and you always have to. You kind of have to like learn as you go, as far as doing things, because every day is different. There's a structure, that we all follow, but every day can be a new day here, regardless of like every person's new, everybody's situation is different, and that actually keeps it exciting for me. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you and I worked together for a short period of time back in like 2005. What's the difference now and then in the mortgage industry and how things are done?
Wow. Oh, that's a good question. Well, there's a lot of differences. I think back then it was a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Cavalier, to say the least.
Wild Wild West?
Yeah. It was no holds barred back then. There was all, loan officers were coming, going. It was mass chaos, but it did give me a look into what was possible. I'd gotten away from this business for a while,
Sure.
Unfortunately, but it did give me a look, and that's why when you did call me, I knew sort of what I was getting into.
Sort of.
Right. And after 2009, things have dramatically changed. I think for the better. I think all for the better. It's definitely a difference. I think being a loan officer, I think, is one of those jobs where you kind of have to like police yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Almost.
Well, they police you too with
They do.
Dodd-Frank and all the compliance and all this other stuff.
They do.
But it definitely, like you're even though you have managers, you're your own boss. You're your own business. You kind of make your own hours. Your paycheck dictates your effort and your networking ability. So it's
100%, and it's like anything else in life. I think you get out of it what you put into it,
Mhm.
and actually, you get
Right.
out of it what you put into it.
beautiful. So now you've been in a couple other industries since then. What do you like about this as compared to cars and supplies and things like that? Other industries that you've sold at. What do you like about this?
Well, what I've always liked about sales in general is that I never wanted anybody to tell me what my economic viability was. I decide what I'm worth.
Yep.
And I've always been, for better or worse, I've always been attracted to that.
Yep.
It might sound silly, but one of the things that I love about this the most is the lives that we kind of change,
Mhm.
that we help people. Like buying a home is a very big deal.
Yeah.
You only own a few of them usually,
Right.
in your life, and to help somebody be a part of that, it's a cool thing. It's kind of like rewarding to me, for lack of
Sure.
a better.
And you've also done some refinances that we've all been a part of, where you've really changed people's lives. You know what I mean? Whether it's a large amount of cash out to help them refurnish their house or put a new kitchen in or do some other things. like very life-changing type stuff. It's not like you save $27 a month.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. And I love a fast-paced environment too. Part of my day is sitting at my desk, but like there's a whole nother part of it, and I love meeting new people. I love, I love pretty much every aspect. It's really not, I don't really have a lot of dull moments here.
Yeah.
And, for someone like me who's, a little bit maybe sometimes on the ADD side,
Yeah.
that is,
You've never been called calm.
no one's ever confused me with calm.
You're not calm Kramer.
Not even a little bit.
Okay,
No.
gotcha. Awesome. All right. Now, in the personal side of things, outside of Envoy Mortgage, Dave Kramer, loan officer, what do you do to either blow off steam or to fill your heart on the outside world?
Well, as you know, I'm an avid poker player.
Yup.
Uh,
You say pretty bad? No,
No,
you're a big poker player. You've actually won some money. Like, you don't have to be like.
yeah. Yeah, I guess if you're keeping score, yes.
You won a couple tournaments.
I have. I think most of my success, believe it or not, has probably been in the cash game circuit, but that's something that I've always have been in love with.
The underground rounders kind of cash games with.
I have frequented one or two of those, in my time. But poker's gotten so accepted now. Those games still exist, but there's not really any type of game nor stakes that you can't find.
Right.
I mean, casinos are popping up all over the place now.
Awesome.
Having said that, I don't know if it's a life that I would want for my daughter,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak. But I've been able to find a way to make it work.
Cool.
And I love restaurant hopping, stuff like that.
Yeah, watching movies.
Not a big TV guy, but I am a big movie guy.
Correct.
Big movie guy.
Awesome. All right, final question for you. Dave Kramer tomorrow hits the lottery, wins $2 million. What's the first thing you're buying?
Dave Kramer hits the lottery tomorrow. What's the first thing I'm buying?
Play the Jeopardy music?
Another minute to give me so I can answer the conversation, so I can answer the question.
I know what the answer is, but I don't know what you're going to say.
Let me hear it. Hit me.
You're going to buy a new car. I mean, you're going to buy a house second, but the first thing you're going to buy is a fancy car. I know you like a fancy car shit. Don't.
I gotta say this one time. In this particular, if this business has taught me anything, I like cars. Don't get me wrong, but if I can get a condo or maybe something, for the same price or a little bit more than I can get a car for, I think I might.
$2 million?
I'll probably get a car. Probably get a car.
Car first, condo second, something for your mom third.
Yeah, she'll be up in the top.
Yeah.
Number of people.
Awesome. Dave Kramer, thanks for stopping by the
Thanks for
neighborhood.
having me, man.
Awesome.
Take chances, live fast, all that stuff.
We'll be back later.